Wrong glasses. There we go. Woo, much better. I can actually see my phone from here. So let me just double check. Wednesday, October 23rd. Check. 2024. Check. I did not take a nice long morning walk before I did this because I slept in. So I'm going to put a little arrow and I will take a walk after I do my TikTok live. TikTok live, 9 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, hey, here I am. I almost started singing Salt and Pepper, but good morning. Oh, and I just got a reminder that I have a strength training class tomorrow at this time, so go figure. Good morning, everybody. We can play Romper Room right now as people are coming in, so good morning, Kaylin and Mama Chef 86 and Hi Dude 444, exclamation point. Mother of 3, Michelle Deemer, Teresa, Julie, Laura Gibbons Vo. That's how it shows up when I see it. So nice to see you. Welcome. Welcome to Destination Decluttered. Hi, Mother of Pretty Pearls. Love it. Yeah, that one persona saying glad to see you this morning. I'm glad to see you this morning as well. As you guys know, I do these TikTok lives. It's so funny. I'm like, I do them except when I don't. Now, I say that because I want you to learn from me, because I wish I had learned this lesson before, which was to take some time for yourself. You know, good morning, Dana Reynolds. Nice to see you. Take some time for yourself and don't always be working. No, don't always be working. You really actually get more stuff done that way. But enough of that randomness. Yeah, good morning. So I think we're going to call this one, when I upload this to TikTok, this TikTok recording at around 10, after it's done at 10 o'clock, because I'll be here for about an hour. I usually almost always upload these to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. And I do this because when I'm not doing a TikTok live, if somebody's like, man, I wish there was somebody to keep me company. I wish there were some kind words and some practical, helpful, easy tools and suggestions to keep me, decluttering when I'm kind of losing my energy. A lot of folks have told me that they use the recordings of my TikTok lives as that kind of body doubling. If you are in the ADHD world, you know what that is. Or just, almost like a podcast, because you don't really need to look at the screen. But as I just looked at the screen, I realized I will probably title this one, The One Where I Wasn't Wearing a Hoodie. Now, it happens. I wear hoodies and sometimes I don't. But I love it. Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, I am one of those folks. So cool. So look for the one. And Laura, I assume you're on my mailing list, so you get access to the ones from October, not just the ones from September and before. So the one from, and I look over at my calendar, Wednesday, October 23rd, is the one where what do I call it? When I wasn't wearing a hoodie. So, hey, I'm looking for something. I'm getting my teacup all hottened here. And really what this is kind of like, me having a sip of tea, maybe you have your sip of tea. I don't know, taking some time for yourself. And if you're struggling with clutter, I'm like that friend who's hanging out at the coffee shop with you. I just got my tea. Maybe you got your coffee or your kombucha or your whatever your beverage or food of choice, or nothing at all. We're hanging out at a coffee shop, but nobody, it's not loud. And okay, there we go. That's like a Friends episode title, the hoodieless one. Yes, and in a way, I'm your friend. Hey friend. That little girl from those little vines back in the day. So freaking adorable. If you were sitting down with me and you were coffee and be like, hey, how's it going? And we kind of were at the topic of cluttered homes. You'd be like, oh man. And you would share with your pal, the person you're having coffee with, kind of like what's jamming you up clutter-wise. So I show up as that person because you may not have that person in your life. Right now, you may not have somebody. Maybe the people you live with are also contributing to the clutter. Sandy Travers is asking a good question. Do you visit homes and help people? No, I don't. With the exception of my mother's house, because my aging mother, is a clutterer. I can't even begin to tell you, but this is one of the reasons why I delight in living an uncluttered life. Sandy, but I will help you with this, okay? Because there is an association, the National Association of Professional Organizers. They changed their name, but they didn't change the acronym, so I'm always getting it wrong. Look up NAPO, N-A-P-O, and that is a group of people who are trained to help people with their clutter, and they go into your houses, okay? So do that if you're interested in somebody coming there. Now, what I discovered, and I'll share this for you, is much of what is stopping you clutter-wise is not the stuff in your house. Well, it is technically, but what's stopping you is what's in your head and what's in your heart. Before you ever can move it with your hands, you have to kind of go through the gauntlet here. So I realized very early on that I could be in somebody's house, but mainly we'd be just sitting there talking about why you were stuck. And then I said, well, you know what, maybe I can just do this online. So I coach people across the country using Zoom. That's how I, help people with clutter. Now, Kate is saying, I was making so much progress, but we had to move my mom suddenly, and now I have boxes in every room. Okay. I love that you were making progress, but notice life is going to happen and throw you these. Now, I'm not a sports person, but I believe it's throw you a curveball. So understand the difference between you were going along well and then you just randomly stopped versus some deus ex machina, some unexpected event happened that caused you to veer off course while you were driving towards destination decluttered. So notice that's where you are now. Say, oh, okay, suddenly I am on my way. And this is why I use the road trip metaphor all the time. And actually, let me straighten out, because if you see behind me, one of the few times I'll say, look at the screen, which was you're here and you're on the road to your destination decluttered, but something gets in the way. So you literally and metaphorically have boxes in your way of going through that. So I would ask you a couple of questions. I would say, are the boxes your mom's? And what's the situation with her? Is it long term? Is it short term? Is there another place that you can store her stuff? There's so many nuances that go into what are the next steps to practically move things. And I love talking about it because I love to get into kind of the theory and the head and the heart of this, of how does that make you feel when all of a sudden your mom had to move in with you. And I bet there might be some feelings about that. And, how is it practically when the boxes are there? But then at a certain point, it's like, okay, we got some insight. Let's put that insight into action. Now that you know what's going on, what can you do differently to get yourself feeling like you're back on track with your own decluttering? Or maybe you're starting a new track because this is a new chapter of your life when your mom is moving in with you, So notice that. Mortise Repair, hello. Rainbow Butterfly, hey, nice to see you. Wendy Nickel, glad folks are joining me. So if I haven't introduced myself, because I usually don't do that right off the bat, my name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. See ya. Nice to see ya. Okay. Okay, we had to move her to hospice, so we won't be moving them to a new space. Okay. Kate, yeah, that's a tough time to be in your life. So my hand goes to my heart, and my heart goes to you. Here. That isn't easy. So do the best you can with this situation. If she's to hospice, you know what? Maybe it's a thing where you put her things in storage somewhere. You don't get them so they're not in your way. And then you'll probably be dealing with them down the road. Okay? Give yourself some grace during this process. And it's okay if your house isn't as decluttered as it was because this happened. This even happens in everyday life. It's like you have a busy week, and unless you pay attention to your clutter, it can pile up. Dishes can pile up in the sink. Laundry can pile up in the hamper. Happens to me. But that's your regular everyday, kind of the clutter of everyday living, as I like to say. And the clutter of everyday living is definitely part of the clutter in your home. This is usually what I would call your surface clutter. But there are two other layers of clutter that you have as well. It's going to be stored clutter. Stored, I like to mention, it is rhymes with doors and drawers. So stored clutter. Yes, and Cat Mama says, Kate, focus on her now. Yeah, the clutter can wait. Nobody is judging you, so don't judge yourself. So you've got surface clutter, the everyday stuff that's on a horizontal surface, the clutter of everyday life. Then the next layer down is stored clutter. Now, I just did a couple of videos about this because I was going through my own stored clutter just this weekend, actually, when I realized that our spice cabinet was just looking grungy and overpacked and just, totally whatever. So anything behind a door or in a drawer is usually stored clutter. The last one Yep, the most important one, and the one that people struggle with the most, is going to be sentimental clutter. Now, sentimental clutter can be your own things that remind you of your past. They are your things that remind you of the future you thought you were going to have. They can be also the things that were once owned by somebody else that is either in your life but different or not in your life at all. Oh, Shanana, good morning. Nice to see you. Hope it's nice up in New Hampshire. So just think of, even instead of looking at your whole house as cluttered, even right now, I just gave you 3 categories, 3 layers. And I say layers because you tend to go from the top to the bottom. We start with one layer, we clear that off. It's like weeding your garden or raking your yard at this time of year. And then there's another layer, and then there's another layer. Now, if you get stuck and overwhelmed because you're thinking your house is so cluttered, look what I just did. I took the house and I chunked it down into 3 categories. You can also overcome your overwhelm, as I like to say, by just using the word down. Okay? I love it. So Rainbow Butterfly says, I've been working hard getting my apartment decluttered, pretty much everything getting stored. Okay, good. I hope, let me just offer this to you, okay? I hope you are sorting before you are storing. I am camp, let's sort it before we store it, because sorting is decluttering. Decluttering is going through your stuff, seeing what you have, and deciding, do I want this thing or not? And if I want it, yeah, I'll store it, and I'll store it at a place that makes sense to me. But if I don't want it, how can I easily get it out of my life? Okay, so I love that you've been working hard to get your apartment decluttered. Rock on. High five. High five. Look at me, I'm clapping and I'm saying high five. I obviously need some tea. Good morning, Guadalupe Lazzarini. Nice to see you. We'll be working on getting rid of stuff when I get back from my 2.5-month trip. Awesome. Now, I am a traveler like nobody's business. I woke up practicing the mantra of, I am a confident and comfortable international traveler. So that's where I'm at. So I love 2.5-month trip. That sounds awesome. Now, what I love too is after a trip, walking into my house and saying, I'm home, as opposed to, I'm home, and ugh, this place is a mess, and man, I ran away from it. I was thinking this the other day because the weather has been unseasonably beautiful, totally concerning because of global warming. However, I also love warm weather, so I will embrace it, because me feeling crappy about it doesn't change the weather, but it does make sure I vote for somebody who's going to do something about it. What I want to offer is, when you are at your house, how can you make it feel like you're on vacation? How can you make your house feel like that cute little Airbnb that you rented? You know? That Airbnb you rented has just the things in the right place. It has all the things you need. It may be a little bit light on the actual personal touches, but there's a little stuff to give it some character. But what can you do to make your house feel like you're staying at a cute little Airbnb? You know? Now, I love this. Rainbow Butterfly is doing a little test thing. This is the trip to see if I want to move. Yeah, and the interesting thing is if you don't have a reason to declutter, you might be like, okay, whatever, I'll do it whenever. If you have a reason to move, let's say Rainbow Butterfly comes back from this trip and says, oh my gosh, I just found the cutest little town, and I found the cutest little place to stay in this cutest little town, and I so want to move there. Notice I'm leaning forward and being drawn towards it. I know that feeling because 20 years ago, it was 20 years ago today. It wasn't technically 20 years ago today, but it was coming up on 20 years in September. Or actually, no, excuse me, in December. But I had a wicked crush on the town that I now live in. I just thought there was so much about it. There was something about it that just aligned with me, my husband, and I. Me and my husband and me. Yeah, that's it. And so we did the thing. Suddenly, we had a lot of stuff, but man, we got all our stuff packed up and we moved within 3 months of finding the house that we have right now that we still live in. So notice the difference between if you don't have a destination and you're like, oh, I'll do it whenever, versus, oh my gosh, I really want to get this done because this is going to help me, you know? Now, Teresa is saying, the best thing I did was get rid of clutter and stop going to Home Goods and TJ Maxx. Yeah. You know what the neat thing is about that? Is when you realize you don't need any more stuff. You may be in the habit of going to those stores. Now, not so much TJ Maxx for me, but I still will occasionally dip into a Home Goods because I used to work in Pier 1, Filene's, Mikasa. I used to sell vintage stuff, so I like seeing home goods. For a long time, I like to see, like, not Home Goods the brand, but home stuff. I realize now at this time in my life, and maybe you're here too, I have enough stuff. So I need to change the habit of going in and buying things. Now my habit is occasionally going in and looking at stuff, but much of the stuff just doesn't speak to me anymore, but I still do that. But notice that. Notice what happened is you just said, the best thing I did was get rid of clutter and stop going to Home Goods. Okay, now Oceanana was up working on the upstairs hallway at 2:30 a.m. Now Oceanana, I will share with you, because I can picture your hallway. I know what it's like to wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep. It happened to me last night too. What I want to offer to you is, first of all, I'm not going to declutter, shame you. If that felt like the thing to do, trust yourself. But what I am thinking might work better is to just lay in bed and practice just resting your body. Now, I am getting better at this because usually I would get up my phone and then the lights on and stuff. So last night, I changed that habit. I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and honestly, I was probably awake until about 4:30 or so. But I laid there with my eyes closed, and I told myself good stories, and I didn't stress out about not being able to go back to sleep. And then at a certain point, I fell back to sleep again, and I got some nice sleep. Now, the only reason I suggest that is because if you were up at 2:30 this morning working, and you went back to bed, your sleep schedule may be disrupted, and you may get unexpectedly tired this afternoon or this evening, okay? But so notice how you do this. Would you start a road trip at 9:30 at night? Or excuse me, at 2:30 in the morning? Yeah, 2:30 in the morning. It might be easier for you to do it when there is light out. Now, I know myself, it's a heck of a lot easier for me to clean and to declutter when it's light out, because the sun coming through the windows highlights all the dust bunnies that are underneath my furnitures, Now, German Maid says, I don't have a lot of time, so I choose a small thing project daily. Wonderful idea. That's what I did this past weekend. I said one shelf in my kitchen, which is the spices, and I felt good about what I did, Now, well, even though I have not been to where I'm going, I kind of feel like I want to move. Interesting to notice how you want to move. Now, yesterday, German Maid cleaned out 2 more large flour barrels that were rotting and broke them up and tossed them. Yes, every little bit helps, people. Every little bit helps. There we go. Oh, that's a very good idea. So Lisa M is offering to me and to Oceanana and to anybody else here struggling with your sleep. When you can't sleep, go through the animals or fruits, one for each letter of the alphabet. Yeah, I saw this on TikTok too. Like doing something very mundane, like very boring, so that you kind of bore yourself to sleep and you quiet down. When you're mentioning those things, when you're talking those things to yourself in the head, like the backseat drivers of worry and spin out can't talk at the same time. One thing I did was I learned that I started to almost walk up and down the aisles of my local grocery store and just name all the products I could see. And that got so boring, kind of like it does when I go to the grocery shop anyway. So anyhow, good morning, Christina Glendale. Now, according to my calculations, I might see you this afternoon. Or my afternoon. Well, actually, both of us later in the afternoon. But very cool. Nice to see you, my dear. I cannot wait to hear what has gone on because it's been a while. Now, I coach people. Yay, okay, good. So I coach people one-on-one. I do a 10-session package, paid coaching via Zoom, and I help people all over the country with their clutter. So you can learn more about that. I'd be happy to talk about it, but I try not to get on here and have it be like a sales pitch the whole time. However, there's info about it on my website, destinationdeclutter.com, and you start that just by signing up for a free consultation. And Christina and I have been working together for quite a while now. I have people on their first package, their second, their third, their fourth, their fifth. I've got somebody just about to start their 6th 10-session package with me. And I love it. I really, truly enjoy helping people with something that I'm good at and that gets them out of the rut that they're in, clutter-wise and otherwise. Now, good morning, Monk. Good morning to you and to everyone. So I raised my cup of tea to you. Which one? What does this say right now? Yeah, live your life like a road trip. I don't know if this shows up backwards or forwards. Live your life like a road trip. Now, I made this mug for myself I did not make it like clay and stuff. I uploaded a file to a place. And I like to treat my life like a road trip. I do. Good morning, Christine. I like to treat my life like a road trip, and here's how I do it. This is how I do it. I woke up this morning and I was like, hey you, to me, we're going to go someplace fun today. We got a few things we have to do today. We've got some errands. We got some bills to pay. I've got some coaching to do. I've got a TikTok live. But man, are we going to have fun even while we're doing those things. Do I have enough gas in my tank? Okay, yeah, I do. I actually have too much gas in my tank because I have to go to the bathroom. So I got myself feeling good physically. I actually even took a shower. Check me out. Usually I do that later in the day. I took a shower. I went to the bathroom. I made myself a cup of tea. I checked in with my nervous system. Please, oh please, oh please, make sure that your head is in the right space and your heart is in the right space to do the decluttering or to do anything. And if it isn't, take some time to do it. So thank you. Monk Month says my hair looks really good. Yeah, usually you just see me when I've rolled out of bed or come back from my morning walk. But sometimes I do. Take a shower. You guys only see like literally an hour sliver of me of the day. But thank you. Of course, I'm getting my hair cut next week, so it always looks good right before then. But yeah, it is so important, everybody. Before you do anything, check in with your heart, your nervous system. How are you feeling about this? Are you like, I'm feeling good? I'm feeling good? I'm feeling calm and confident? Or are you feeling kind of all frazzled or overwhelmed or, like the hackles on the back of a cat or a dog bouncing up, or you're all frazzled, or maybe you're just mentally exhausted or physically exhausted. Okay? Adrian thought the same thing about my hair. Thank you. Thank you. Start with your nervous system and your physical body and your mental health first. Before you do anything. It makes it so much easier and you feel so much better. So how can you do this? Now, I think of this a couple of ways. Actually, you know what's funny? I will share with you. This is totally impromptu. So one of the things I teach my clients is something I do myself. Let me see if I can find it. Is I write down the good stuff that I've done on a daily basis. This is called, like, if you know Abraham Hicks, it's like the book of my positive attributes. I call it my road trip journal. I call it the good book. I call it whatever. Now, this is my recent one. I just started this one maybe August of this year because, my travel journal. And August 1st of 2024, I started this one. Now, I have two others because I've been doing this. This is a habit I have for a while. This one I started in February of 2022 and went to July. So it's this one. This one's my first one. This is the very first one. I was kind of mucking around. I was thinking back when I started this one. This one was 2020. And I have a thing here where I wrote down what I could do to make myself feel better. Okay, so let me read. I'll read from the good book. Okay, maybe this will help you. This is what I can do to get going again. Exercises. And I said exorcises, like I'm going to exorcise the demons. Okay. All right. So rainbow butterfly. My head is never in the right mental space for any kind of cleaning. I'm constantly burned out. Now, I'm reading this from a book, but this was just something I wrote to myself. Yours may differ. Your mileage may vary, but this is what I wrote to myself back in 2020. Let me see what it was. Oh, this is funny. This is when I was totally into writing it like a road trip. Okay, this is God. I got some good stuff in here, but here, let me say. Okay, hold on. This is what I can do. Fix any physical discomforts. So for me, it would be taking a headache medicine because I get migraines or I get headaches. Drink a glass of water. Put on my sunglasses if I'm squinty. Change into comfortable fitting clothes because I am crabby if my pants are too tight. Wear or change clothes to match the temperature. Again, physically comfortable. Changing my shoes, stretch, massage, yoga, meditation, take a walk. Breathe deeply 10 times in a row. Take sinus medication, take tummy medication. Put in earbuds when it's noisy. Breathe. Stop cold drafts blowing. Get the right temperature. Obviously, I've realized it is really important for me to have my body at the right temperature. What else? Clean my glasses, moisturize my skin, eat healthy, eat small. Now, a lot of this is this. Oh, turn the page. A lot of that is physical. What did I write back in 2020? If I am not in the right frame of mind, I haven't read this out loud, so we'll see. Examine my thoughts and journal to why. Recognize and reassess. What small things can I safely do? Rest until I'm a little bit better, but don't stay there. Meditate. Observe what reasons I'm feeling this way and respond, not react. And as I even said back in the day, co-pilot myself. And I got signs. I could go on. It's so funny. People say I should write a book. I already kind of read it. I already kind of wrote it. I hope that helps you, okay? So if your head is never in the right mental space for any kind of cleaning, you're constantly burned out, get to the root of that problem. Write it down. The thing that's going to help you, the tool you need, is going to be a simple notebook from Staples. 35 cents the last time I bought them, so I bought a bunch of them. Oh, here's the one I'm going to start soon because I'm running out of places in the other ones. If you want, why are you constantly out of gas? Why is there no gas in your tank? Write it down and we can change that. If you want to, you can change that. Now, Judy is home all day today. Was excited to get a lot done and now thinking so much to clean. Where do I start? Okay, Judy, I want you to keep that motivation, but I want to drastically lower your expectations. Okay? Drastically lower your expectations. And I want to explain why. Is we often think, I've got the whole day, I'm going to kick the world's ass. I'm going to do all of it, As you said, get a lot done. I'm going to get a lot done. How about getting some done? Okay, so notice this. This is a good time, actually, and I love that Rainbow Butterfly got wireless headphones to listen while you're cleaning without having to hold my phone. I love that. But here's a good time if you ever want to look at the screen. Look at it now because this is going to be a visual. Okay, and now think about this. Let's say you want to do 100 things today, declutter-wise, okay? So 100 is here, up like near the top of my head. Now let's say during the day, because of the energy you have, the time you have, the focus you have, other things that may happen that you didn't expect, let's say you get 50 things done today. Now notice the way our brains are wired. You will probably feel bad about the 50 because it's not 100. Actually, you know what? Let's make it 75. Yeah, let's make it 75. So you thought you were going to do 100 things, but you did 75 instead because life is going to happen. You're going to get energy. You're going to lose motivation. Your decision-making tank will empty. If you, quote, only do 75, you may not focus on the 75 you did. You may focus on that 25 you didn't do and not feel good. Oh, I said I was going to do 100 and I only did 75. Notice the negativity bias of the human brain. So let's play with it. So remember I said that 75 that you did? What if you said to yourself, now Judy, this is for everybody too. What if you said, I'm going to do 50 things today? I'm going to do 50 things. You cut that in half. You chunked down that, I'm going to do it all, and I'm going to do 50 things today. Then notice where my hand is at 75. Suddenly, the 75 that used to be mwah is bonus. Not only did you do all of the 50 you said, but you did 25 bonus things. You're a rock star. Yeah, you're a rock star. You're a rock star. Pink. I think she's from Norristown. Love it. Notice it's the same number of things, but your brain thinks of it two different ways depending upon what you compare it to. So seriously, cut your list in half and then feel like a rock star when you do it. And if you want to do more, then you're even more of a rock star. Okay? So notice that there are different ways. Notice I didn't have to be in your house to share that with you because this is a way of thinking about decluttering that will make you feel better about decluttering. And you guys, when you feel better about decluttering, you are more likely to start your decluttering and keep going. Okay? Now, Judy says, okay, do you always make a list of what you were going to do? Yes, I do. I have a list, and you probably do too. Judy, you probably have a list, but it's probably up here in your head. Now, here's another thing. Again, if anybody recorded me and threw these things to AI, it would write it. The book would write itself because I say the same things over and over again because they work. So Judy, everybody, you have a list in your head of things you kind of, I know I want to get this done today. One of the best things you can do is get that out of your head and put it down on paper. So get it out of your head and put it down. So it goes from your head to your hand. So handwrite that note to yourself. Now, why do I say handwrite it? Because many people I work with struggle with ADHD, or their brains are wired for ADHD and they haven't quite figured out how to work with their brain as opposed to fighting against it. Writing down what you want with your hand and a pen or pencil on paper forces your brain and your body and your nervous system to slow down. Now, if you have ADHD, you probably don't want to slow down because you're afraid that you have this finite amount of energy, and if you slow down, you're going to lose it. I promise you, you won't. Judy, I want you to think about it this way. Think about going to the grocery store and having the list of 50 items in your head versus going to the grocery store and having, sorry, I just got a text. Let me get refocused here. Going to the grocery store and then having your list of 50 items written down. Notice which one feels easier. Which one feels easier to get to your destination, which is destination, get the shopping done, get it done easily, get it done in the shortest amount of time. Which one is easier? Yeah. So Rainbow Butterfly, listen up. Yeah, autism and ADHD. You guys, you're my people. I know how this is. I probably have them, but I haven't been diagnosed. And I don't say that as a badge of honor. I just say I haven't been diagnosed because it doesn't. I have learned, and I want to share this with you, I have learned to work with the way I am wired as opposed to feeling bad and fighting against it to try to do it the way somebody else does. I am directly related by blood and by marriage to people with ADHD and autism. And the ADHD brain does kick-ass things. Celebrate what your brain does good and help it with the things that it struggles with. Yeah, Teresa's saying, I need a written list because I'm all squirrel. Me too. Me too, because I'll go in and I don't even do the grocery shopping anymore. My husband loves it, so I'm like, here, you go for it. I go in there, and unless I have a list that I'm looking at, I will be buying the snacks on the end cap. I will come back with this thing. I will come back with mac and cheese and candy bars as opposed to kale and squash. Actually, I like kale and squash, so I will also get that, but unless I have it written down. And if I just keep to the list, if I don't get distracted. You know? Okay, Rainbow Butterfly 87s. I've been trying to find systems that work for me. It's been hard. Okay, that's cool. Don't give up. Don't give up until you find a way to work with yourself as opposed to fighting your guilt stuff. Fighting against yourself. Excuse me. I felt like I stumbled on that one. Yeah. So, Judy, write a list. And even if you have, so here's the deal too. I write lists all the time. I've always been a list maker. I didn't even realize that until a friend of mine from high school says, yeah, remember that time when I'll have to ask her about this story because I don't even remember it because it's so me that it didn't seem weird. But we were going away to Vermont in high school, and she said, and you wrote this list. I'm like, did I? Well, that's meing. That's who I am. I've always written lists. When you write something down, think about it. You write your wish list to Santa Claus. You write your shopping list. You've got your list of things you want to get done. Getting it out of your head and down onto paper, using handwriting it onto paper, helps you. Now, Teresa, text list to yourself. Okay? Now, I highly recommend, I use the different ways of capturing the information. I have an entire board of probably definitely hundreds of things that I have listed to myself online on a thing called Trello. I do not allow that to overwhelm me, though. What I do is I chunk it down. I have a bunch of lists that are categorized, and then I have one that's kind of my slush list that I pull things over to, and I don't overwhelm myself with too much. So I say write it all down, but do not tell yourself you're going to get it all done, but keep that as like a master list so that the next time you go to declutter, you know something that you want to declutter. Okay? Now, Barbara brings up a really good point. I have a list for everything, but I get nothing done. Now, see, the list making is just a step in the process. It's a good step. It is a wonderful not first step, because you got to check in with your body and your nervous system. And also, you got to do, and maybe you haven't done this, Barbara, maybe your list isn't working the way it should because you haven't decided on your destination. all these things on my list, if I do this, what's at the end of it for me? Think of a list being something that instead of being vertical, it being horizontal. And now I feel like David, what's his name? David Byrne. You know, letting the days go by. How did I get here? Okay. How did you get here? By doing something, by driving along this way. Think of each one of the things you do as a stop along a road trip. Where is that list getting you? Why are you doing that? Because sometimes your why is going to help you motivate it. Now, I remember the first time, seriously, the woman who does our taxes now, she was like, what's your why? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. This is when I was writing books about road trips and stuff. And I was like, I don't even go to the why. Ask yourself why you're doing this and write it down and make it mean something to yourself. Okay? Make it mean something to yourself. Because if you're not fired up about the end result of doing your decluttering, maybe you can do it without it. But me, if I don't see why I'm doing it, I'm not going to do it. If there's not something in it for me, then it's going to be very hard for me to motivate myself. Okay, Judy says I wouldn't have enough paper for a list of what needs to get done. Judy, that's your backseat driver drama queen talking. Okay? I can smell it a mile away. You know what? I betcha if you went to Staples today and you got one of this is a brand new book. It's got how many? 70 sheets in it. When you empty out your brain, when you get all that stuff out of you and onto paper, you'll realize it may be a lot of stuff. It may be, I'm not going to lie, but it may not be as much as you think. But notice your backseat driver is saying, don't even try. I wouldn't even have enough paper to get the list of things done. You always know your backseat driver, your little scared little backseat driver is talking because she is a drama queen. It's because she's scared of trying something that might not work. You know? Now, Teresa says, my sister adds things to her list that wasn't there just to cross it off. Of course. You know what that is. ADHD people, you know what a dopamine hit is, right? Check me out. Look what I did. I feel good about what I did. There isn't anything wrong with that. I almost said there ain't nothing wrong with that. And then the next thing you know, I'm singing the theme to the Jeffersons because we're moving on up to the east side. Okay? K Major says, how to narrow your list down. I love this. K Major, you narrow your list down in a couple of ways. Now, I think the easiest way to do it, and I'll just stay, this can apply to everything in life, right? I just got the Oscar for the best drama queen. Yes. How to narrow your list down. Notice, narrow it. It's big. You want to narrow it down. You want to focus it down. I suggest a couple of things. Now, I will keep this in the cluttering space, but notice this can apply anywhere. So I will say, in general, categories, name of, how to, what are the categories on your list? Now, think about it again, like a shopping list. If you were to organize your shopping list, you might do it by aisle of the list, like here's the produce, and there's pasta, and then there's where the cereal is, and then where the bread is. So you set up your map to do the things in a certain order. So you're not saying, well, I'm going to go get the milk first, but then I'm going to come over here and get flowers, and then I'm going to go down there and get hot dogs, and I'm going to come here and get, something from the, where the bank used to be. I'm totally looking at the map of our grocery store across the street. Categories. So in your house, for example, you have categories already. You have rooms in your house. Okay? You have rooms in your house. So you have your big dump list. Don't try to organize it at first, and then rewrite it and have a page for each room. Or categories. Maybe it's, within that room, it's your bedroom, for example. You could do surface clutter. Okay, so surface, stored, and sentimental. So surface clutter in the bedroom is usually something on a surface. So it's like the floor, clothes on the floor, stuff's on your bureau, what's on that shelf. Chunk it down that way to get started. And then it's up to you. You can do the easiest stuff first to just get yourself going. And you can do it like that. Okay, Judy's going to go get a notebook today. Awesome, my friend. Seriously, I would never, ever show up and suggest something that I did not know for a stone cold fact worked. And I know this works because I've been doing it for the last, when did I start this book? What did I say, 2020? Yeah, I really started practicing this. Now, before 2020, when I quit my job and I thought I was going to be a highly successful writer of travel books, I got some coaching myself, so some of the things come from that. I didn't really get consistent about this until I practiced it kind of during COVID and post-COVID, and now here we are, and it works. I get more stuff done now, and it feels so easy. I feel like it just is effortless. Okay? All right. So, yes, same it as ever was. So if you want it to be same as it ever was, keep on doing the same thing. Keep on keeping on. Don't stop, big log, something like that. Okay? What I want to offer is, if you don't want it to be same as it ever was, before you even start doing anything different, define how you want it to be different. You know? All right. Okay, Judy, yeah, set up an appointment with me. So, yeah, as I said, you'd have to look at my calendar. The best thing to do, too, is just really quickly, I got to put some more consultations on my calendar. But I am getting very close to my max cap for coaching clients. A bunch of C's there. If you don't see anything available that works for you, get on my mailing list. You do that at my website too, destinationdecluttered.com. And getting on the mailing list gives you first dibs. I whisper, hey, you guys, I put some new stuff on the calendar that nobody knows about yet. So it's there, okay? Now, that one persona, and this is the cool thing about us doing these Destination Decluttered TikTok Lives. I do these pretty much almost every morning. Also, if you're on the mailing list, you get the schedule of when I do these. Also, heads up to anybody who's on it. I had to change one. I think it's either this week or next week. I updated it, and I let you know it was updated if you had written it down, because I got a new client, and I had to move my... I'm going to be coaching her at that point. All right. Okay, so that one persona says, a decluttering tip from my own life: donate things ASAP and don't let them sit. Yes, do not let them grow, I almost said weeds, grow roots. Get them out of there. You're going to feel better. Okay, now Cat Mama says, off topic, but Morrissey is in New Jersey in November. Good to know. I saw him back in the day. Actually, one of the things I think I need to declutter is the Morrissey t-shirt that I bought in 1986, 5, when he played Great Woods in Mansfield. I was able to wear it up until a couple of years ago, and then hello, menopause. Also, any of you are of Gen X or whatever music people, if you knew Matthew Sweet, not to get all, I will distract myself, because that's what I got the text from my sister, because I told her about this. Matthew Sweet had a stroke. He's not doing well. There's a GoFundMe, okay? If that means anything to you, I just wanted to get it out there, okay? All right, yes, note, I love this. That one persona says, get the stuff donated right away. Otherwise, my brain sees it as background and I forget about it. Yeah, your brain does this to survive, okay? Your brain does this to survive because you put things out in view often to remind you visually to do something. If you keep on seeing it and the reminder isn't working, your brain will say, oh, that isn't a reminder anymore because that reminding is not working. That person is not doing the thing. So we are just going to turn that into furniture, as I like to say. Because I want to say, consider yourself at home. Consider yourself part of the furniture. Yeah, it just turns it into background. That's why if you use visual reminders to tell you to do things and they are not working, change your habit. Okay? Now, Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, the times I have made myself a shorter list and done the whole thing is rare, but it feels so good. And here's the thing. Again, cue the Chuck Mangione. I want you to feel so good at whatever you do. Don't beat yourself up about what you didn't do. Celebrate what you did do, because that is going to increase the feel-good feelings in your brain and your body that are associated with decluttering. And the next time you go to declutter, you will remember those feel-good feelings versus feeling like you got beat up. Who's going to come back to something that's painful? A masochist. No, don't do that. It's fun. Decluttering it can be so much fun. And you know what you're doing is you're showing up for yourself, because if you want a decluttered home, you're driving yourself there. Okay? There we go. User 7394 says the list is daunting, so don't let it daunt you. Put it in the background, and says put a piece of paper on the fridge and write stuff down as it crosses your mind. Yes, you can do that. That's also a list. That's also a list. But the other thing too is if you only do what's top of mind, you will forget that there are some deeper things that you want to do. I keep lists of some things I want to get done before I'm dead. I keep lists of places I want to travel to, hotels I want to stay at, foods I want to eat, clothing I want to wear. I mean, literally right now, only because it's in front of you. So I use Trello, and I have a board. This is just my personal one. I have my slush fund, like just the random kind of list of things that would be on the fridge. Then I have things for growing my business. Then I have travel. I have money ideas. I have future stuff. I have clothing. I have random things to buy, books to read, health things. And this is neat. My one says, buy new turntable. And literally my husband and I are going out today to buy a turntable. See, when you write stuff down, you can make it happen, but you got to refer back to your list. And when you refer back up here, your brain is a wonderful problem-solving machine and creative thing. Don't also make it be the admin keeping track of all the stuff. Have it be the person who's like, I've got this great idea. Have it be more Andy Warhol and less Miss Jane Hathaway. To mixing my 60s metaphors, okay? But those of you who know what I'm talking about, okay? Tana Love says, any tips for going through a massive amount of little kids' toys? Yeah, a little bit at a time. I would also go through, this is what I would do. I would start teaching your children. Teach your children. Was that Crosby, Stills, Nash, and or Young? I would get your kids involved. I would get them involved and teach them from a very early age not to fear decluttering, that somebody took my favorite toy, but to participate in the decluttering. To tell the story of, I bet they've outgrown all those toys. The toys that they're not using anymore could be donated somewhere where some kids who have no toys at all could help. Little kids have big hearts. They do. So encourage them to share what they have. And if you have massive amounts of little kid toys, you've got an abundance problem. And I say you've got an abundance, but if it's a problem for you, then it's an abundance problem. But that doesn't mean you're going to get rid of all the toys. No, what you're going to do is you're going to comb out the ones that they don't play with, that they've outgrown, that didn't work for them, or maybe they're broken and you throw them away. But start small, and seriously, everybody here who is saving items for somebody else besides yourself, get those people involved in the decluttering. I don't care what age they are. The reason we all are hanging out here, I'm like 58, is because I did not learn how to do this as a child. I was raised by wolves. I was born a poor black child. Okay, I'm putting that in quotes. I'm quoting The Jerk. Okay, I was raised by cluttered people who were born and raised by people who had very little when they were growing up and grew up through 2 world wars and a depression. So there is family history as to why my parents hung on to stuff. I can see that, but I don't want to live decluttered, so I've chosen to do something different. But I've only really learned this later in life when I realized the habits that I grew up with are not giving me the life I want. Okay? So notice these things. Yeah, your lists have lists, sinking silence. My lists have lists too. I'm not kidding you. You know? I love it. Judy says, after your advice, I took my teacher t-shirts to the school I retired from, so they're out of my closet. Awesome. There you go. Missy is asking, do you use Trello for to-do things only? I love Trello. I haven't used it for years. I use it, really. I use it as my external hard drive. My own personal, your own personal external hard drive. I use it for everything I want to remember, but I don't want to clutter up my brain for it because my brain is a creative machine. My brain works best unencumbered by mundane stuff, but I also know I have to do mundane stuff. You know, like I have to look, I think there's a credit on my credit card that I have to transfer to my sister. I have to look at this thing. I got to remember to do something about the mortgage. I got to get my podcast going. Like all those things I know I need to do. My visual reminder is to look at my Trello board, to look at the words. So I use it for everything. And Missy, if you haven't used it, maybe it's time to get back in the habit again. There we go. Great Woods is my favorite. Grew up first in North Attleboro. I grew up in Needham. So I know where you're talking about. Okay, Adrian is saying, that's the hardest part for me, is just getting the boxes of donations I need to get out of the house. Why is that the hardest part? Why is that the hardest part? Now, I'm not saying that accusingly or judgingly. I am asking you very curiously and with hope that if you answer it, you can uncover and discover why that's hard for you. Okay? All right. So, oops. There we go. Yeah, that's why you say I make notes on loose paper. Notice what works for you and what doesn't. The thing I love about Trello, and also notice you guys, I pay attention to the details. I too, when I write things on random paper, I might lose them. So that's why what I write things down on is a spiral bound notebook. I can't lose these pages. The only way I can do that is if I tear them out, and the only time I tear them out is when I'm done. So I have two ways to do it: in the physical world, and then cue the police. We are spirits in the material world, in the digital world as well. So I have a digital way to do that because I'm not always at my desk with a pen in my hand. When I am, I do good things, but when I'm on my morning walk, my Trello's on my phone too, and I text myself reminders. But then I go back to my list and I do those things. Okay, feeling a bit stuck in the hallway this AM, Oceanana, it's okay. Notice where you're stuck and write it down. We can work on that on Monday. Okay, dusting the plants up there. Doing something is oftentimes better than nothing. And dusting and cleaning is definitely a surface thing. Think about it. You're cleaning off a surface. You're doing something good. Now, the reason you're probably stuck is because, I don't know, we'll find it out. But the neat thing is I'm in your life right now to help you when you're stuck. So there's no need to fear. Underdog is here. I gotcha. I can help you get unstuck. I'm like the AAA of decluttering. If you're stuck in the mud on the side of the road, do whatever you can. If you're stuck in a certain place, go do the easy stuff somewhere else in the house, okay? Oceanana, don't just sit there spinning your wheels where you're not going. Get out of the car. Go do something easy between now and, because today's only Wednesday. Or if you want to hit me up with an email or something, maybe I can help you with that. You may just be tired too. Yeah, Trello is an app I started a bunch of years ago. I actually bought some coaching from somebody to learn how to use it. It was like a $17 course, and I got access to a video that showed me how to use it. Okay. Yeah, Powder Dreamer says, yeah, I love all the 80s references. I am Gen X, hear me roar. Okay. Now, what was it? Okay, I got some Massachusetts people in the house. Do you hear it in my voice? So I love it. Yes, I lived in Mass until about the year 2000, and I actually never thought I'd move out of state because not a lot of my family is out of state. But then I met this wonderful guy from Delaware. I didn't even know where Delaware was on the map. I found out where Delaware was, moved there. Long story short, we've been very happily married for 22 years. None of that would have happened if I had stayed scared and in my shell. I had to expand my comfort zone, not get out of it. I had to expand my comfort zone to do some different things to get the life I want. Now I push it out like this because it reminds me of those stretchy bubbles that people were dining in during COVID that are like made of saran wrap. Your comfort zone is inside that wonderful geodesic dome, but it's flexible. You don't have to get outside of it. No, but you can expand it so the world becomes your comfort zone. Now, what else do we got here? Now, Lab says, I use Trello working for my church. You can do it. Love it. You know? Carolyn says, getting things donated is hard part because by the time I get home, I am so exhausted, I want to stay. I love it. German Maid is saying, can you put it in your car and take it on the way home? Yeah. Also, maybe where you're donating things is too difficult to get to. Can you find an easier place to donate? This is why I often, to the chagrin of some people who start to shame the decluttering people, is I will often be dropping off a bag or two to Goodwill because I can drive there, drop it in their thing, and be on my way. I will not shame you for how you declutter or why you declutter. Shame is just a unhelpful feeling that gets you stuck. Oh, I have to declutter the right way. Now, I will suggest that if you have stuff that's still workable and usable, if you have clothes that are able to be worn or toys that can be played with or things that function well or books that can be read, I would like it if you donated them to somewhere where somebody could use them as opposed to throwing them in the dumpster. But that's just me. You're going to do you. Okay? Yeah, Farm Girl says Goodwill is the fastest and easiest, and they help people that are mentally challenged. Green Drop comes to the house where Deb is. I make an appointment, so that makes me get a box or two together. Yeah, giving myself goodwill shame gave me anxiety. I let go. Goodwill it is. Yeah, any way you can get started. Do not shame yourself. Notice how shame can give you anxiety, and then you stop doing what you're doing. Let's get rid of the shame. Let's get rid of the guilt, the fear, the drama. Notice it comes up and quiet it down with love, and then say, but we're heading this way. I know that you feel that way. I'm hearing you. I am. But we're going to do something different. No, I love it. Marcy, see, this is the great thing. So I coach people. Again, I feel like I've only got 4 minutes left. So in case you just met me, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered, and I do these TikTok lives quite often. If you want to find out when I'm doing them, hop on my free mailing list. DestinationDecluttered.com is my website. You get on the mailing list there. You get access to the schedule of my TikToks. And also while you're on my mailing or on my website, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can schedule a consultation with me. Okay? Now notice that I say that because the way I coach is I do a 10-session package, paid coaching, and I help clients from all over the country. So depending upon where you live, you have different decluttering resources. We work with you. What works for me in my little town here in Pennsylvania may not work for you when you're in California or Texas or, Idaho. So finding what works for you will help you get it done. Now, I love it. That one persona says, I have a friend that has a donate tote. When it gets full, she takes it to Goodwill. Yes, because decluttering is a lot of stuff. I have a bag that's in our kit, or excuse me, it's funny. I noticed this about myself. I'm a noticer. When I can't think of a word, I rub my hands together, not because of money, but maybe because of money. Helps me think. We have a bag in the bedroom, just a white kitchen garbage bag with like the ties on it that I always have hanging on the back of the door if we have clothing that is clean and usable, but we're just not wearing it anymore. Yeah. There we go. Sia says, I've realized I've been putting others' values on myself, and that equals clutter for me. Yeah, Rainbow Butterflies, donating to your church's storehouse. All the money made goes into helping people. Notice how good it can feel to let go of stuff when you know that it's helping other people. It can be a struggle sometimes to do something that feels good for yourself, because we are told, especially as women, to be selfless and to think of others and to help everybody else before yourself. I say I want to call bullshit on that. Because what I know is when I feel better and I take care of myself first, it's not an either or. It's either me or that. It's me and that. When I take care of myself, I am taking care of other people better. So notice the difference in how you feel about stuff. Now, Monica C. likes the bag behind the door. Try it. See if it works. It's going to get kind of heavy at a certain point, and it's going to get wide, and the door won't shut as easily, and that's when you know it might be time to take it off and donate it. And starting to donate little bits at a time. Just get the flow started. Get the path between you and your donation place of choice. Get to be a well-worn path there. Don't wait for everything and then donate everything. No, start small. Yeah. Now, Hannah says, helping my 87-year-old mom move from a 2-story to a first-floor 1-bedroom. Hard to help because of sentiment. Yeah. Hannah, my mom's 83, and for the last 3 years, well, for decades of my life, I tried to help her and my dad declutter. They said they wanted it. They did not want it. 3 years ago, when my mother turned 80, she realized she couldn't do this alone, so I've been helping her with that. There is a lot of sentimental clutter involved with helping families and yourself, but what I suggest, too, is when you practice your decluttering with your own stuff, you're building your muscles, you're getting strength, you are learning a process. And when you know a process that works, it will be easier for you to do it even with the sentimental stuff. But don't forget, Hannah, and I only have a minute here because I'm going to sign off and go kick the world's ass, is there are 3 layers, and sentimental is only one of them. It is the deepest. It's going to take the most energy out of you, but you also have surface clutter and you have stored clutter. So yes, everything of your mother's probably has a certain level of sentimentality because it was owned by your mother, or it is owned by your mom. But just remember, there are things you can do on the surface There's things you can do with your stored clutter before you even get to the sentimental. And then if you practice with those lighter weights, when you get to the heavier weight, it's easier to lift it. Okay? Yep. Living life is saying the same thing. My parents are both gone, still have some stuff of theirs, like pictures. Yeah, seems hard to just get rid of them. Notice that. But what I want to say is before we even get there, not to ignore it, but to back up and just say, how am I doing with my surface clutter? How am I doing with my stored clutter? Once those are good, you will be better prepared for your sentimental. Okay? Now, it's 10 o'clock, according to all of my clocks right here. I'm on the East Coast. My name's Beth, Destination Decluttered. If you like how this went, if you liked what you heard, the interaction, consider just following my TikTok page. If you want to take it the next step and know when I go the next TikTok live, I've got it written down. Hop on my mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com. If you think that one-on-one coaching with me, paid coaching in my 10-session package, sounds of interest, there are testimonials on my website. See how it's worked for other people. There's a place on my website where you can sign up for a consultation. Find out all that information. There's resources. I can help you. Okay? Yeah, I am so down to earth, but I also have my head in the clouds because I'm also living a life I love. So you guys, you can do this. I'm here to help. Okay?